You're welcome back, and many thanks for staying with us. The Junior Doctors Association of Ghana has described as misleading a statement by the Northern Regional Directorate that they refuse postings to the 3 regions up north. The doctors in a statement dismissed suggestions that not a single of them trained in the region accepted to work there, thereby dipping patient ratio in the regions. The statement comes on the back of recent complaints about the reluctance of doctors to accept postings there. We can first hear the Regional Deputy Director of Public Health, Dr. John Abayri.
The newly qualified doctors who came out, they were given the opportunity to choose regions that they would like to go to. And it happened that no doctor chose Northern region. Yes, I was there with the other senior members at the senior managers meeting. And what was even more shocking to the DG was that even doctors who were trained in UDS did their service, the national housemanship in Northern region, even refused to choose Northern region, and that is a very serious issue.
While the association disagrees, its secretary, Dr. Mawena Hafe, joins me in the studio now for a conversation. You're welcome, Doctor.
Thank you.
Why do you say what they're saying is not true?
Well, because there are facts on the ground. I don't know which facts he was dealing with when he made that statement, but then I can state on the record that the statement talking about the doctors who trained in the Northern region, specifically those who trained at the University of Development Studies, did not even select any of the 3 Northern regions for posting. We have records to show that out of the 36 doctors who completed there in the year 2014 and who completed their housemanship training as at last year, out of the 36, 30 were posted. They went into public service, and out of that, 21 of them actually are currently working in the 3 Northern regions and Bronga Alpha region. So that's why we want to say that the statement they put out was a bit misleading. Okay. It's true that the doctor-patient ratio is a bit low in these regions, but to put out a blanket statement like that is not the best.
So you are saying that you have records to show,
yes,
or
please.
to prove what you're saying. They also say that they have records. I mean,
well,
so I'm a bit confused here.
Okay, so we actually spoke to our colleagues. The batch, you know, the statement was that in 2017. No doctor who was sent to that place accepted posting. Yes. And even as I sit here, I have colleagues who are posted as of November of last year who are actually working right now in the Northern region. So we actually wanted to debunk the fact that doctors who train at UDS do not even accept postings.
Did you train in UDS?
No,
yourself?
I trained in Kolebu. University of Ghana Medical School.
Okay, so how do you assess those records that you're talking about?
Yes, so every year when postings are done, there's a list. Okay, so what we did was we contacted colleagues in these regions who had actually accepted postings to these regions, and that's how we collated the numbers that we had.
21, you say?
Yes, 21. 3 Northern regions and Bronga Alpha region.
How do we verify this?
Well, we actually have their numbers, their names. You could actually go to their facilities because we have a list of each doctor and then the facility they are in.
But is it very difficult to, and you have to be very frank with this, is it very difficult to accept such postings to such areas?
Yes.
What makes it?
Rural posting in general, and not just to the 3 Northern regions. There are lots of rural areas in Ghana that are actually lacking healthcare personnel. And it all boils down to the fact that the conditions in these areas are just not appropriate for some of the people who go there to work. A few doctors who take it upon themselves to try and then go and work in these places, but most of them even get tired. We could cite facilities that don't have resources. I mean, you are trained to save lives. You go to these places. day in, day out, you watch as patients come in, people that you could save if you had the resources, but then you either have to refer them or they die on you. It's enough to depress any young person who wants to do their best to help. And it's even worse when you are there and then you see what is being done in the rural areas. Monies that are being spent in ways that could actually have been spent to help improve the
conditions
in these areas. Yes. Secondly, a few people go there and then they seem to get stuck. You know, doctors want to at least progress in their education. They want to specialize. They want to move forward. You find out that when you go get stuck in some of these places, it's usually a place where you tend to do most of the work
alone.
You are almost on call all the time. You are pretty stressed. And if there's no one to relieve you, it's very difficult for the regional directorate to actually release you to go and pursue your education. All these factors make things very, very difficult. When this story broke, we collated views from some of our members working in some of these places. One of our colleagues has been working for close to 18 months without being paid.
Which hospital?
I wouldn't mention the hospital in order to protect his identity, but then for 18 months, he's not being paid. And you realize that what this thing can do to morale if it gets out there. So he comes out to say it. Other doctors who might want to be posted to that place would say, no, if I go there, this is what's actually going to happen. Why should I go there? And it's very difficult to assess. For example, you have to move all the way down south to chase your salaries sometimes.
So what, you're posted somewhere, but you can't be paid there?
You are supposed to be paid over there, but then the processing of the salary has to take place. And it's somebody's job, but then they usually tend not to do that job. So you have to finish work and then come down south to chase salaries too.
So these are, I mean, major reasons you've given me for which anybody should not be blamed if they decide to reject some of these offers.
Well, I would like some of our politicians, some of our those who complain that doctors don't like posting to these areas, to actually go work in those conditions for a while and then come back and report to us, and then we'll see how best to solve these problems that plague all of us.
That's a very funny thing to say, I must say.
It is, but it's really serious. It's really serious because the people in these catchment areas are suffering. They are suffering. They need healthcare personnel. And it's not just doctors. We keep bringing out the fact that it's doctors, but then nurses, teachers, there are lots of people who would not want to work under such conditions.
Well, if you're not alive, you wouldn't be able to go to school. Well, that's why most of the time the focus is on doctors because they are supposed to help save lives. But what were the reasons? Do you know the reasons that those who rejected the postings, for example, gave? So
a few of these reasons are what I've outlined earlier.
Okay.
And when stories come out from these places, it discourages people. It discourages people. And for someone who has never even experienced the place, this would be enough to put the person off. And that's why quite a number...
So you're saying that what that story says at the moment has the potential of discouraging people from even accepting...
Well, not the story in itself. The story in itself, we just sought to debunk the fact that no doctor...
And to correct the information that's been put out there.
It's a bit... it was made in error, I believe. It was made in error, I believe. We want to encourage the stakeholders that we actually want to work in these places. It's not... we don't deliberately set out to...
reject
postings, yes. But then everyone wants what's good for them. I want to explain further. If anybody realizes that going to this particular place is going to make life difficult for them, they probably wouldn't accept it. And that's why we keep putting out calls that...
But you see, the point that people put out, the concern that people have seems to be that, well, you doctors took an oath to protect people, to save lives. So why is it that you consider your personal comfort ahead of... And I'm not saying by saying that personal comfort isn't a way to help you, to make you deliver on what's expected of you. But they say that why would you take an oath to protect, to save lives, and now consider your personal interest or put your personal interest ahead of honoring that oath?
Okay. I want to search for an analogy for you that might help. Okay, let's say...
One of the many analogies that you've had to make, I guess.
Let's say you're a driver, okay? Your work is to drive people from point A to point B. Is the fact that you're a driver going to stop you from doing... is the fact that you're a driver going to make you do your work if there's no petrol in the vehicle you're driving? If the vehicle is not roadworthy, would you want to sit in that vehicle because you've sworn an oath to drive people from point A to point B? This is what we want to correct. We want the logistics made available. We want the conditions made better so that doctors who have sworn an oath can actually go and fulfill that oath. It's a very simple thing.
Okay.
I don't think it's that difficult to understand.
It's not that difficult to understand. But you see, for the person who feels that my life was dependent on you, and because you rejected this posting, let's say I lost my life, or because you rejected this posting, my family member lost his or her life. That's where that's where the concern comes from.
And then there will be the counter arguments that is it possible that your family member lost their life because there was no medication at the facility? Doctors don't produce medications. Is it possible that your family member lost their life because there was no theater available? Doctors do not produce theaters. You get where I'm coming from?
I do.
Yes. And what I'm saying is we could go to these places, but we would probably not deliver as effectively as we would if these things were made available. Because
the conditions there don't support. How do your friends, those who accepted, 21 of them you say,
yes, 21.
accepted postings last year?
Yes.
To the 3 regions
from the batch who had financial clearance in April, and then a few from the batch who had financial clearance in November.
Okay. How do they feel at the moment? Do they come up with concerns? Do they come up with complaints? Are they happy? Are they delivering? Are people dying on their hands? What do they say?
Well, people are working. Some of these things tend to happen. Quite a number are unhappy because of the conditions they face. We keep having these discussions over and over and over. And I think our mother body, GMA, is doing a lot of work. They're trying to involve the ministry to try and then solve some of these problems to make these rural areas more attractive for healthcare workers to go to. Okay.
All right. So hopefully they will accept more of your colleagues will accept the postings.
Hopefully. And, we are hoping that with the current engagement we have with the ministry, we are hoping that some of these things will be put into place just to make things a little bit more attractive. We are not asking for really big things. It's just the basic things most hospitals in some of the regional capitals have. They are basic things. It could be done. Okay. And it will make these areas more attractive for healthcare workers.
But at the moment you are stationed here in Accra?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so anyway, okay. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you
Thank you very much, Dr. Marina. Dr. Marina is the General Secretary for the Junior Doctors Association, is that correct?
Yes, that's
Junior Doctors Association. And they are, well, seeking to correct information put out there which they say isn't correct. Information that has to do with whether or not any of their doctors, any of their doctors accepted or rejected postings up north. Doc, thank you very much for coming.
Thank you too.
All right. Now, Graphic Business, in partnership with Stanbic Bank, presents the Graphic Business Stanbic Bank Business Breakfast Meeting. The theme for this year is Deposit Insurance, a catalyst for stronger banking industry. The date is the 6th of February 2018, and the time is 7 a.m. The new Omanye Hall at Labadi Beach Hotel here in Accra. The speakers are Dr. Ernest Addison, Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Nana Otue Champong, banking consultant and head of Osei Tutu Center for Executive Education and Research, Mr. Seth Asante. Partner with the Benti Encho Lecha Ankuma and head of Financial Institutions and Capital Markets, Practice Group. If you want to participate in this, call Joyce on 0244 266 006, or you can call Trewa on 0243 957399. Alternatively, why don't you send an email with your details or register online at this event. It's sponsored by Graphic News and the Labadi Beach Hotel. Their media partners, Joy Business and JoyNews. We'll take a very quick break. We'll be right back.